萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。唵啊吽咕噜贝阿呵萨萨玛哈列什悉利吽。
佛。阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。大家好，大家吉祥。我是Lian助教。
everyone. I am Lian. I'm from Malaysia, Singtan Temple. Welcome to everyone who is on YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. Welcome all masters, senior reverends, Dharma Instructor, Dharma Assistant, and fellow disciples on Facebook, YouTube, and Zoom. And if it's convenient for you, please turn on your video so that we'll get to know each other better. Today, it will still be Master Lian who will be conducting the class. Today, we are at lesson 6. The topic is scheduling work and cultivation practice. Today, our interpreters are myself from Singapore and from Indonesia. Our interpreter is D.A. Feng Li. He'll be translating in Bahasa Indonesia. And after the class, there will be an opportunity for everyone to participate in the Q&A session. You can post your questions either in Zoom, YouTube, or Facebook, or you can even turn on your mic and ask the questions if you're on Zoom. Master Lian will address all your questions. We strongly encourage everyone to participate in the Q&A. I apologize. I didn't prepare any golden quotes of Grandmaster because I've been a little busy. Class, we are almost at the end of this module. We hope that everyone has completed their homework. And for every chapter, we can do at least one homework, which you can share your takeaways from what you have learned. There's also the homework for your cultivation practice. We hope that everyone will be diligent on this as well. We say hello to everyone. We have our interpreters, our counselors, DAs, and our various masters online today.
我们辅导员莲花姿容助教，还有我们今天授课导师连义上师，您好，弥陀佛。还有新加坡的玉香师，
Master Lian is already online.
莲花春燕讲师。好，已经到了准点了，我们就
It's
现
8
在
p.m.
开始
sharp.
我们的
We will start our class now.
那真佛密法第5章。
So we are here at Chapter 5, Practice and Application of True Buddha Tantra. And today's lesson is scheduling, work, and cultivation practice. Let's first pay homage to our root and lineage guru, as the lineage guru of the True Buddha School, and the triple jewels of the shrine. Please form the Padma Kumara Mudra and recite the heart mantra of our root guru. Om Guru Lian Shen Siddhi Hum. 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 Amitabha, let's welcome our lecturer, Chairman of TBM, Master Chen Chu, Education Director, Master Lian He, PR Director, Master Lian Chiang, Master Lian Fei, all Masters, Senior Reverends, Reverend Dharma Instructor, Dharma Assistants, and all fellow disciples on Zoom, YouTube, and Facebook. We have myself from Singapore who's doing the English interpretation, and from Indonesia, we have DA Feng Li, who's doing the Bahasa Indonesian translation interpretation. And Buddha, before he entered to Parinirvana, he has his important last words were rely on the precepts as our teacher. This shows the importance of precepts. So the precepts include 5 precepts, the 8 precepts, the 6 parameters, the 50 stanzas to Guru devotion, and the 14 root Tantric vows. So there are many, many vows and precepts. So if you're able to cultivate to the stage where we are calm, we will not break, where our heart is immovable, we will not break any precepts at all. Let's welcome Master Lian Yi to conduct the class. Let's welcome Master Lian Yi. But first, let's pay homage to our lineage guru, living with Lian Shen, past lineage gurus of the True Buddha School, or Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Mahasattvas, Dharma protectors of the shrine. The Honorable Chairman, Master Chen Zhu, Education Director, Master Lian He, PR Director, Master Lian Xia, Master Lian Fei, all Masters, Senior Reverends, Dharma Instructors, MC, all interpreters, all counselors, all DAs, and all fellow disciples. Amitabha, everyone. Today we continue with Chapter 5, Practice and Application of the True Buddha Tantra. Today we're at Lesson 6, Scheduling Work and Cultivation Practice. Let's do a recap before we start. Question 1. When Buddha entered Parinirvana, what were his most important last words? Everyone got the right answer, which is to rely on the precepts as our teacher. Second question. The 5 precepts are the foundation to practicing Buddhism. Please list one of the precepts. You just need to list one of the precepts. Most of them have listed do not kill as one of the precepts. So the 5% include do not kill, do not steal, do not engage in sexual misconduct, do not lie, do not take intoxicants. Who is the Bodhisattva who received instructions from the consciousness of the universe and wrote the 50 stanzas to Guru devotion? So who is this Bodhisattva? So only if you answered this question, and the answer is Ashpagosha Bodhisattva, which is in Chinese, he's known as Ma Ming Posa. Preface. True Buddha practitioners should not be hiding in the shrine, cultivating 24/7. While talking about this, we have a class the last few days at the Benran Education Center in April, and I heard this story, which is a story of chopping wood. So a young woodcutter went to the mountain to cut firewood. And soon another old woodcutter also arrived. But at the end of the day, the young woodcutter found that although the old woodcutter came later than him, he had cut more firewood than him. So he decided that to go to the mountain earlier tomorrow to cut firewood. So the next day, the young woodcutter, again, at the next day, at the end of the day, again, the young woodcutter found that even though I have arrived at the mountains earlier, why is the amount of wood I've cut still less than that of the old woodcutter? And again, on the third day, he said that I will arrive even earlier than the day before, and I will also descend the mountain later than him, thinking that he would definitely chop more wood this time. Again, on the third day, the old woodcutter outwon him. So he was very puzzled, and he asked the old woodcutter. The old woodcutter said, "It's a young man. You're very hardworking. That's very good. But do you realize every day, though, I start later than you? But when I'm resting, I'm always sharpening my axe. But you're hardworking. But your objective was to cut more firewood, and you didn't rest at all. Though I'm older than you and arrived later than you, but every time during rest time, I will sharpen my axe. So my axe is sharper than you." So this story tells us that this is the same in cultivation. You can't just cultivate 24/7. You don't even rest. So that's a saying. When we rest, so that we can further our journey. Grandmaster always taught us about being balanced, achieving a balance. Just like the old woodcutter, he rests, but he's resting, he's sharpening his axe. So he's different from the young woodcutter in that way. It's just like a handphone. We are always using our phone, and our phone need to be charged. in order to be able to continue using the handphone, the mobile. For lay practitioners, your daily cultivation practice would only require 15 minutes. Lay practitioners should also work and study like other ordinary beings and not appear unusual to others. That is, apart from the activities in your daily life, just add another 15 minutes of cultivation practice. I've already mentioned that cultivation, there should always be a balance in our daily life. The important, if you just playing your part well, is also cultivation. Do what you need to do. So that's another story that I would like to share. So there's a monk who's 80 over years old. And one day, he was drying mushrooms under the sun. It was very hot and sunny. So the abbot of the temple was Daoyuan Zen master and saw the old man carrying out his task. And Zen master say, "Elder, you're so old. You should not be doing all these hard tasks. Find other people to help you." And the old monk say, "Other people are not me." Daoyuan Zen master said, "Okay, even if you do this task, there is no need for you to choose such hot weather to dry the mushroom." And the old monk replied, "If you don't bust them in the sun, do we have to wait until it rains to dry them?" So there's a reason behind this story as well. What is the key point? One, he was playing his part well. So when the sun is hot and sunny, you dry the mushroom. So he was playing his part. So the second point was, so even though he's in his 80s, regardless of any task, he's relying only on himself and not others. So you should arrange your time properly and do what you need to do. Do your things properly. So when Grandmaster went back to Taiwan, so there's a group with like a fan club of a Grandmaster. They don't go to work and they don't have enough money. So they borrow from friends to go to Taiwan to get Grandmaster's blessing. He doesn't have any money and he borrowed from people so that he could follow Grandmaster around. So this is not right. So when we learning the Buddha Dharma, we should play our part well. Next is about scheduling cultivation practice. The practitioner should find the best timing in his schedule and set this as the time for cultivation. It could be one cultivation practice daily or even twice, depending on the amount of time one has. So Grandmaster has mentioned that when we learn the Buddha Dharma and do cultivation practice, we have to find a time. We have to arrange a time that fits us the best. So self-awareness, nature, and learning the Dharma is very important. So that's a very good saying. Does it say the old cow knows that the sunset is late and it does not need to raise his hoof to work hard? So the cow knows time is precious. So he does not wait for the owner to wave the whip to urge him to raise his hoof to show that he will work hard.
他很珍惜这些时间不需要打的，好像我上一次讲的那个两马肩边影，也是同样一个道理啊。什么是一等一的马？就是看到马那个边的影子，不需要打的。
So for the horse, as long as they see the shadow of the whip, they will start to run. They start to gallop. So this is to remind us that we need to have self-awareness. We don't need people to tell us what to do. So if we want to do one cultivation practice daily, we should persevere. Cultivation timing. The length of cultivation could be long or short. For some practices, it can be completed in 20 minutes. And for other longer practices, these may take 50 minutes to complete. These are the experiences of living Buddha Lian. So how long you want to practice will depend on how much time you have. Some are longer, some are shorter. But the length of the practice, cultivation is not about the length of practice. It's about whether you can keep your mind pure. So as long as you learn to let go of attachments and cultivate wholeheartedly, and you do it with a pious heart, pious mind, that would be sufficient. So there's another story that I would like to share with you. There was a little Lama who recited the Uchusma mantra, which is the Huiqi Jinggang Zhou. So there was an old Lama, there's an old Lama who had been reciting the Uchusma mantra. Though he did not receive any special spiritual responses, he insisted on reciting the mantra daily. So he had a young disciple who learned this mantra as well. And when his guru was not in the temple, this little monk would wear his master's robes and hold the master's dorje and sit on his master's seat. So suddenly, the Dharma protector appeared and asked, what does the master want? And the Dharma protector asked him, what does the master want? The young disciple said, can you move our temple to a location in the mountain facing the sun? So the Dharma protector said yes. And when the master returned, he realized that the temple was facing a different direction. So he asked the young disciple, so he told his master truthfully what happened, that he made this request. And then the master said, continue doing that the next day, because he wants to know what happened. So the next day, the little monk did as he was told. So when the Dharma protector appeared, the guru came out from the table below and asked, Uchusma, I have been reciting your mantra for years, and yet you did not show yourself. And my disciple is only a junior monk, and he has only started reciting this. Why did you appear so rapidly then? The Dharma protector said, you only started reciting the mantra this lifetime. Did you know that your young disciple had been reciting this mantra over several lifetimes? So the infinity for practitioners are all different. So for some of them, they will get a spiritual response very rapidly because his aptitude is different. So don't compare. So when someone is good, we should learn from them and be more diligent. But if we have inadequacies, we have to work harder. So cultivation location during exceptional situations, for example, when you're traveling during sightseeing, or maybe in the military, cultivation practice may not be possible. In this case, one can recite the High King Sutra or chant mantras silently. This is done in accordance with one's convenience. So you can just recite one sutra and one mantra. It could be the Padma Kumara mantra. You can do it silent. You can do silent recitation. So next we will talk about a vegetarian, becoming a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. True Buddha disciples practice the true Buddha Tantric Dharma. To be a vegetarian or non-vegetarian is up to one's preference. However, one should never kill just to satisfy one's hunger. Do not kill living creatures. If one needs to eat, one can buy food. So the question on vegetarianism and non-vegetarianism has been discussed within the school very frequently. So other schools, Buddhist school, may wonder why can we eat meat? So basically, if you want to be true Buddha disciples want to be a vegetarian, they can be, or if they choose not to be, it's also okay. But the most important that you can only take the three pure meats, which are you did not see the killing, you did not hear the killing. The killing was not done because of you. So these are the three types of pure meat that we can take. And Grandmaster always emphasized the question on vegetarianism or non-vegetarianism. So Grandmaster has emphasized and talked about what is non-vegetarianism and what is vegetarianism. You may be eating, you may be a vegetarian, but your mind is full of evil thoughts. You have greed, anger, ignorance. These are non-vegetarian. So Grandmaster say true vegetarian is your mind is pure, your mind is compassionate and has loving kindness. So these are considered vegetarian. So it's not about external forms. Of course, apart from only of eating the three pure meats only, you also have to do deliverance and offering before partaking in a meal. So you just need to follow the sadhana. And in Tantrayana, we always have to do deliverance and offering before we can partake in a meal. And the most important is your heart, your mind must be pure, and that's real vegetarianism. However, in Tibet, Tibetan tantric practitioners are non-vegetarians, and this is due to the geographical environment of Tibet, which is a nomadic area where vegetables, fruits, and rice are not grown. Only meat is available. As such, Tibetan lamas are not prohibited from taking alcohol and meat. So they take meat as their main diet. So whether to become a vegetarian or non-vegetarian is entirely up to oneself. One can adjust according to one's environment. Like, for example, if one is now an ordained monastic and therefore becomes a vegetarian, when one is old and feels that eating meat is not good for your health, one can become a vegetarian. So this is the transformation of self. So so it's entirely up to one's preference. Cultivation is walking, living, sitting, and lying down. Do not be too fixated on methods and format and cultivation. Cultivation is not defined as sitting in front of the shrine to meditate. Let's think about what is a real cultivation. During Buddha's time, Buddha has a disciple named Suri Pantakat. He's a bit dense, and what is taught he forget. He will forget very easily. So he has this brother who is called Mahapantakat, who's a wise man. And sadly, Sudipatakat was not was not welcomed by the monks, and even his brother felt that he was unqualified and advised him to return to being a layman. Then one day, people laughed at him, and he was very sad, and he cried. So Buddha saw him crying, and he told Sudipatakat, Buddha said, "Let me teach you a method. You just need to follow my method." So Buddha gave him a broom and told him, remember these words that I'm going to teach you. You just continue sweeping this area, and as you sweep, you chant, sweeping dust and removing that dirt. And he concentrated and was very diligent with this task and concentrated on reciting, sweeping dust and removing dirt. And after some time, Sudi Pantakat had a realization that the sweeping is just an external form, but what we should be sweeping away is the dirt and dust in our mind. So he understood suddenly. So while he was busy sweeping away the dust and dirt on the floor, he was also doing the same for his mind. He was a very dense person, but at the end of the day, he finally attained fruition as an art, as a result of a pure body, mind, and speech. So, cultivation is it's equal. It doesn't matter whether you're rich, poor. You have to slowly cultivate, remove all your afflictions and your obstacles. till you attain a pure body, mind, and speech. So what is the importance in Tantrayana? Transforming from the external to internal. Transformation starts from the external and then gradually to your internal self. So he started with Suri Pantaka started with concentrating, just sweeping the floor, and gradually his wisdom arose as he sweep because he had a realization. So in cultivation, one has to be diligent regardless of your capacity, regardless of your aptitude. Our actions, walking, living, sitting, and lying down in our everyday life is cultivation. One must experience them for yourself. So in our daily life, all our actions, our behaviors, they are all cultivations. Regardless of environment, people, matter, they're actually here to help us in our cultivation. The most important is you must experience them for yourself and realize them. So every single matter, people, they are the Buddha Dharma. So there was a Zen master. His name is Yao Shan Zen master. He was meditating under a tree. His two disciples were sitting beside him meditating as well. After meditating for a while, Yao Shan Zen master suddenly pointed to noted two nearby trees and asked his two disciples, which tree is better, the flourishing one or the withered one? And Dao Wu Zen master said, the flourishing one is better. However, Yao Shan Zen master said, however, Yun Yang, his disciple Yun Yang said, the withered one is better. So a servant happened to pass by, and Master Yao Shan asked him, which tree is better, the flourishing one or the withered one is better? And the servant replied, let the withered one wither and let the flourishing one flourish. And Yao Shan Zen master felt that the answer by his servant makes great sense, because his answer means letting nature take its own course and represent the true essence of Zen. So like he said, let the withered one wither and let the flourishing one flourish. In accordance with Living Buddha Lian Shen's teaching, when we are eating, we are doing an offering, a major offering to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. When we are taking a bath, we are repenting and eliminating our karmas, and pure white light enters and unwholesome karma is emitted. A shower head, we imagine that to be nectar, to cleanse us from top to bottom. So pure water is pure light, and then and we emit dirty water, black water, which represent the removal of karma. And when we sleep, we are also cultivating. That is the sleep ingredients practice. So this is something that Grandmaster has taught before, which is sleeping in radiance. Do you remember? Our bed becomes a lotus, and then your throat emitting a red light into the sky. and then it become a bright light which enveloped your whole bed. So you're sleeping in radiance. So this is the simple visualization. The kaleidoscope of life through the eyes of a cultivator. Cultivation is not about only cultivating oneself and ignoring the outside world. When, say, you're watching the occasional movie, you see the different behaviors and habits of sentient beings. But this is not to pick up their ignorant habits, but to observe their sufferings and to help and guide them using different methods. So when cultivating, we're also looking at the outside world. So those are the forms of the sentient beings. It's like a mirror. We're looking at ourselves in the mirror. When we see someone making a mistake, so if we have the affinity, we can guide them or counsel them. They may be our friends, family, or our Dharma brothers and sisters. So if they're open to guidance and counseling, we should try to help them, because some people, they're very stubborn, they're very strong self-attachment. But the most important is still ourselves. We should we should do well. We should be an example to them, to influence them. Those who study Buddhism for fame and fortune, we should also find a chance to counsel them. So the objective at the end of the day when we practice the Buddha Dharma is to transcend samsara. So there are some Buddhists who cling onto their own opinions and ideas and force others to accept them. This is also incorrect. So the strong attachment that people have causes conflicts amongst people, because everyone has their own opinions, their own thinking. So many times we may need to let go of our judgment. Just like during the time of the Buddha, I'm going to share a story with you. There was a practitioner who offered 2 bouquets of flowers to the Buddha. Buddha said, "Put it down." So the practitioner put down the flowers in his left hand. And Buddha said again, "Put it down." The practitioner then put down the flowers in his right hand. Again, Buddha said, "Let go, put it down, let go, put it down." The practitioner was, of course, very puzzled. I'm already empty-handed. What do Buddha wants me to put down? So this kind of teaching to him. In fact, what he was trying to say, I'm not talking about letting go about the things that you're holding in your hand, but it's to let go of the attachments in your heart. So external forms, in terms of money, in terms of fame, we can use them, put them to good use, but you shouldn't be fixated on money, shouldn't be attached to them. You should, if your objective, your intention is towards your Buddhi works, using the money for Buddhi works, you can use your fame and money to engage in Buddhi works. So it depends on one's wisdom to be able to transform these thoughts, towards fame and money. When a practitioner finds shortcoming in others, do not take them to heart, but treat it as a game. One will always have encounters of such in their cultivation journey. So this is the right attitude. So the experiences, the encounters of everyone is different. So just treat it like a game. But within the game, it is important to have wisdom. But within the game, you are able to attain accomplishment. A practitioner must have the right attitude to guide and help people like this. So learning Buddha Dharma, you will have wisdom. Only then, so you will be able to benefit yourself and benefit others. So we'll pause here for our game segment. Amitabha. Sure. Now we're at the game segment. Please refer to the links either in the chat box or on the screen here. Choose the language you're most comfortable with to play the game.
浏览这个 www.mendy.com， 英文是86088629，英文是29022866，英文是85366，就是这么简单的。那大家可以进入自己的字，那希望大家可以写亮自己的真实的名字，让我们更好的认识您。 好，给大家大约1分钟30秒时间输入参与这个游戏的环节。那今天我们的课程呢是学于这一个修行和生活的安排，相信大家都非常熟悉，这些都与我们的生活点点滴滴的息息相关，都不会很生疏，都不会陌生。
So I'm sure everyone is familiar with the contents of the class today. These are bits and pieces that we encounter on daily life. So try your best to answer your question.
进入了，那希望大家多点参与这个活动，大家都可以玩得更开心哦。
I hope everyone will enjoy in this game.
那如果线上的学员们在 YouTube、Facebook 或是在 Zoom 的，都可以选择在留言区回答问题，都没关系。
For those who are on YouTube and Facebook, you can also answer in the comment boxes.
大家准备好了吗？我们尽快进入今天的第一环节的游戏。
So how the true Buddha, the question one, question one. Okay, okay, everyone is ready. We'll read out the question. Question one, how do true Buddha disciples who practice the true Buddha Tantra decide if one should be a vegetarian or non-vegetarian? A, according to the wish of one's idam, B, according to the wish of one's Dharma protector, or C, according to one's own wishes. So the answer is?
答案是C。
Answer is C, according to one's own wishes.
问题二。
Question 2.
若看见学
If we
佛
see
的
someone who is learning the Dharma, fighting over power and fame, what should we do? A. Counsel them. B. Stay away from them. C. Instigate them.
A， 答案是 A， 开导他。
Answer is A, of course, to counsel them.
这个全中，全部都答对了。
For this question, everyone got the right answer. So let's look at the score. Let's look at the scoreboard now.
今天第一环节的这一名高者有来自中文的这个频道，有来自知荣助教。
知荣助教
So dear Zirong is in first place right now.
来看看下印尼文将会由
So for the Indonesian channel, who is in first place right now is Eaton.
伊藤，请先。
伊藤，继续加油。
那今天的这一个英文的，我们是有
For the English channels, Lotus Me is the winner for round 1.
这个环节大家非常棒，先把环节交给上师，我们待会
Everyone is great. Let me return the stage to Master Lin. Observing precepts in your everyday life. It is very easy for sentient beings who have greedy thoughts on mind, lust, food, and sleep to be blinded by greed and develop bad habits. Because everyone has their own habits, so cultivation is to correct them. A lot of those bad habits arose due to greed. So the first thing that we need to correct is our attitude towards greed. So if a practitioner recites the High King Sutra when a practitioner cultivates daily and recite mantras, their wisdom and abundance will slowly increase. Your delusions caused by ignorance will also reduce slowly. So some people kept saying that I don't have wisdom, I don't have enough wisdom. I will jokingly tell them, it's not like you don't have wisdom. It's just that you haven't utilized it yet. So our daily chanting, our recitation of sutras and mantras is to eliminate our delusions. We do it beat by beat. And as we do so, our wisdom also increase gradually. So as your delusion increase, your wisdom will start to increase. If a practitioner recites the High King Sutra once a day, our ignorance and delusions will reduce a little. The greed in our desires is very strong. Because everyone has ignorance. So it is important. So we need the Buddha Dharma to help us to get rid of this. So we should be very diligent in learning the Buddha Dharma. A practitioner must pay attention to precepts. In Tantric, there are many precepts, the 5 precepts, the 10 precepts, the precepts for monastics, 50 stanza to Guru devotion, and also the Bodhisattva vows. So in our everyday life, which precepts are applicable, especially for the last 2 days where we're having lessons and Banran Education Center at Heping Ofuxom. So during class, we talk about precepts. the 5 precepts, the Bodhisattva vows, so on and so forth. And some fellow disciples and our Sangha attended the class on the precepts. So the rest of the precepts were actually extended from the 5 precepts. They're an extension of the 5 precepts. So basically, in your daily life, you can use the 5 precepts. You can start from the 5 precepts. So this is these 5 precepts are precepts that all Buddhists have to uphold. In True Buddha School, Living Buddha Lian has expounded actions that benefit others and self can be undertaken. Actions that benefit others but not self can be undertaken. Actions that harm others but benefit self cannot be undertaken. And actions that harm others and self cannot be undertaken. As long as we uphold the above teachings, we will be able to ensure that greed, anger, and ignorance will not be generated nor increase in our everyday life. So Grandma has said things that benefit others. Grandma says always say actions that benefit others and self can be undertaken. And actions that benefit others but not self can also be undertaken. We try to help people as far as we can. So in fact, when you're helping others, you're also helping yourself because you are doing wholesome acts, you're doing wholesome deeds. So you, at the end of the day, you will have wholesome karma. So you are actually building wholesome karma when you help people. So remember, anything that harm others and self cannot be undertaken. To do every small thing properly, a practicing Buddhist who does every small thing properly will be able to enter samadhi. So Grandmaster always says that do every small thing properly and we will achieve great things. So this is an incident at Seattle Temple. At the time, I was still a reverend. There were no chairs and we were sitting on the floor. And at 8 p.m., Grandmaster was going to enter into the main hall and I saw a piece of paper on the ground. It's a very, very tiny piece of paper. I wanted to pick it up, but Grandmaster was already at the main hall. And I told myself that after Grandmaster complete paying homage to the Buddhas, I will pick up the paper. But after Grandmaster has paid homage to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, he saw the small piece of paper, he picked the paper up before me. I felt so ashamed at the time. Why didn't I pick up the paper earlier? So Grandmaster was really trying to teach us, do every small thing well in order to achieve great things. So what I'm trying to say, if you see something, you have to act on it immediately, don't wait. Things that you need to do and should do, don't hesitate. You should do it straight away. But once you wait, that's it, that's past. So I'm sharing you a personal experience. Many people did not notice that items like tidying up your bed, cleaning the windows properly, washing the bathrooms, doing laundry, doing grocery shopping. These are small things one does daily, including when you brush your teeth. You do it properly so that they are clean. So Grandmaster said that all matters, whether big or small, should be dealt with properly. So Grandmaster will be blessing the letters at 4 p.m. On the tables are where he do the blessing. It's very clean. So a practitioner who wants to enter into samadhi means has to do every single thing in detail, very fine, do it well. This is because one will feel contented. Your greed will not arise. So the more you cultivate your mind, your thoughts will be more refined. This is a training of the mind from a very unrefined mind to a very refined mind, refined thoughts. It doesn't matter where you're working, whether it's hard labor, say working in the kitchen or whatsoever. It's a training of the mind. We train our mind to be more and more refined. And the more refined your mind is, the more refined your mind is, it means that you have more wisdom. You're able to see things with much more clarity. Which means that your cultivation has also improved. The Buddha Dharma allows the mind of a practitioner to generate power, leading to a harmonious life. Just now I mentioned about the mind being very refined. And when this happened, it will generate a kind of power. And you have the power, anything you do, you don't have delusional thoughts, and you will not be affected by others. For example, someone scold you, rude to you, and whatever you do, because there's power coming from your mind, and it allows your mind to have clarity. Most people will not have the clarity because they were affected by external environment. So when you have that clarity, you're very systematic when you're doing things because you have no delusions. You know that you have power from your mind. The Buddha Dharma transforms the mind of a practitioner as well as his or her thoughts. This way, the practitioner will be able to enter samadhi calmly. So I did mention that it's like an antidote, using right mindfulness as an antidote to delusional thoughts. For example, in Zen, it is a gradual, it's a gradual enlightenment. But the true Buddha Tantra is, so we are using right mindfulness to counteract our unwholesome thoughts. And gradually you will be able to calm down. There is no need to complicate cultivation. Cultivation is akin to drinking water.
真的是我们讲的，你本来从一个很复杂的，慢慢你越修呢，你就越简单。
So you started with being complicated, but as you continue to cultivate, you will transform and things become simpler. So we are at game segment 2.
谢谢上师。
Thank you, Master.
让我来分享个屏幕。
Let me share the screen.
那大家都听好了课程内容吗？我们又再接再
You
厉
listen
的
to the contents of lessons properly.
环节的这个分数了，大家都准备好了吗？上师好了吗？
好，第3题，问题3。
Question 3. During living Buddha Lian Shin's exposition on precepts, which of the following below should not be performed? A. Benefit others but not oneself. B. Benefit both self and others. C. Harm others and benefit self. What cannot be done?
C. 害人
The answer is C. Harming others and benefiting self. Question 4. The Buddha Dharma can transform the mind and thoughts of a practitioner. Only then the practitioner can enter calmly into a state of A. Meditative stability, B. Spiritual union, C. Accomplishment.
A.
Answer is A. Meditative stability.
大家今天都非常的棒。
Let's look at the sport scoreboard. That's the end of our game segment.
高分数。
Let's look at the overall winner
谁呢？
from the Chinese channel. It's Die Zirong. She's the winner.
助教。
我们来看看一下印尼文的。
Let's look at the Indonesian channel.
来自哈提。
The winner is Hatini.
还有最后就是英文频道的，和来自学。
And in the English channel, the winner is Lotus Me. Congratulations.
今天大家都非常棒，也都没气馁，因为
Everyone is great today.
关系的最重要是学习我们今天所学的。好，就结束了今天的这个游戏，就把
That's the end of the game segments today. Thank you.
谢谢丽人助教。进入小节。
Summary.
行者生活简
The simple life of the practitioner, hardworking and frugal, take care of one's body and mind. This is beneficial suffering and should be practiced.
讲到这个苦行，大家
When we talk about ascetic practice, we know that Shakyamuni Buddha, before he gained enlightenment, he started, he did ascetic practice for 6 years. He stuffed himself till he was just bones. And later on, he realized
你修苦行，你连这个身体都不行了，你的身体都
doing ascetic practice does not benefit because your health suffer, your body suffer. You can't even cultivate. So to cultivate, you need to have a healthy body.
苦行被盗，所以他才
So he did. Then finally he realized that Shakyamuni Buddha realized that ascetic practice does not benefit cultivation, and was gifted milk. by a lady. Ramoses mentioned before so beneficial suffering. So ascetic practice is not correct. It's not a kind of practice that benefit. One must not afraid of suffering in cultivation. This is by no means useless suffering. So we should not do things that harm our body. Cultivation is not harming the body. And do not go for pleasure, or one will forget to cultivate. So there must be some form of control. It is not necessary to suffer suffering. It's not necessary to suffer hardship, especially ascetic practice, which does not benefit. So some people practice till the body is in a very bad condition. In True Buddha Tantra, Grandmaster thought that there should always be a balance. There should always be a balance. The most important is about being able to control. Let me share a story. So there was a swordsman who visited a martial arts master and asked him how he has developed such extraordinary skills. So the expert took out a sword that was only a foot long and said, "Thanks to it, I'm what I am today." The swordsman was puzzled and asked, "Other people's swords are 3 feet 3 inches long, but what is your sword only 1 foot long? And yet you say you are who you are today because of that sword." And on the weapon guide, it indicates that if you shorten the sword by 10%, it means your danger level will increase by 30%. The martial art experts say, because I know that I am at a disadvantage holding the short sword, so I will always think about how. So therefore, I will always practice my moves very diligently to make up for the shortcomings of the weapon. So indeed, there are no absolute strengths and weaknesses, and so he mentioned that because he knows that he will be at a disadvantage because of his weapon, he will have to practice his skills more diligently than others. This is to make up for, this is to compensate for the shortcoming of the weapons. I think you understand the reason behind this. So he's turning his disadvantage into an advantage. So this story means you put yourself at a disadvantage to put pressure on yourself, to inject motivation into yourself. So I feel that learning the Buddha Dharma is the same meaning. Even though we have inadequacies, so we have to be diligent in learning. So if we have shortcomings, we have to work harder. So our diligence will become like an advantage to us. So cultivation is like this. So recently in Ipoh, Benran Education Center, I don't know who was there attending classes. And we ended class on yesterday. And today, Master Lian already shared the essence of the lessons in the chat groups. And I told Master Lian, you're amazing. And today we're supposed to have a one-day tour. Most of the masters went to join the one-day tour. And then Master Lian said, "Oh no, I will not attend the tour." He was actually sorting out the notes from the lessons, so that he can share the essence of the lessons in the chat group, and so that everyone can learn. He's an example that we should follow with gratitude to Master Lian. And for the sake of everyone, you didn't go for the one-day tour. So even though you can't go, you can look at the photos. So that's the end of my story. I wish everyone good health. Om Mani Padme Hum. With gratitude to Master Lian, your exciting class. So all the stories are so interesting. To conclude the class simply, so we need a balance in our hive. As a Pamakumaras, we have to do our best to play our part. And in the delivery, we can schedule cultivation according to, we can schedule cultivation according to our cultivation. And in terms of food, we can decide whether we want to be a vegetarian or non-vegetarian. The most important is we have to apply the methods that Grandmaster taught, deliverance first, and then do offerings. So our daily actions, living, sitting, lying down, so on and so forth, are all cultivation. So when we shower, it's repentance and eradicating our karma. In addition, if we add precepts into our daily life and insist on chanting sutras and mantras, our wisdom will increase because our delusion, our ignorance will reduce. So to do every small thing properly to achieve great things. Today we feel Dharma joy. Today's class, thank you, Master Lian, for explaining the class in detail. Now is our Q&A. And if you have any questions, please raise your questions in the comment boxes in either YouTube and the comment boxes in YouTube, Facebook, on Zoom, or you can turn on your mic and ask a question if you're on Zoom. So we do have a question now. So there's a question, Master, you mentioned that true Buddha disciples should not be hiding this shrine 24/7. But isn't do we do this for retreat? Say for retreat. And retreat, there's also a schedule. You're not doing just hiding in the retreat hut 24/7. There's also a schedule. Like for example, in Rainbow Temple, when you're doing a retreat, some are 7 days. And within the 7 days, you have to plan your homework. For example, you want to recite 1,000 times Hiking Sutra or 100,000 times the Padma mantra, or want to do meditation. All this you have to plan. in terms of your time, your scheduling, what to do, what. Maybe at work you don't have the time to do this. So maybe you can go to Rainbow Temple for 3 days. So when you need to sleep, you still sleep. So when you need to do your homework, the advantage is when you're retreat, you are away from external disturbances because you're just focusing on cultivation. So your focus during retreat is on the Dharma. So it's not about 24/7. Yeah. Thank you, Master. Good answer. Is there anyone has any other questions online? It's a rare chance. So we're waiting for questions. We feel that the lessons is highly related to our everyday life and cultivation or in our daily life. This is a good opportunity for you to raise questions. I'm sure Master will do his best to answer any questions. It seems that there's no questions. I believe there's no other questions. It's all right. If, oh, that's a question. That's a question. Beneficial cultivation and ascetic practice. How do you manage it? How do you manage beneficial practice and ascetic practice? The key is not to harm your body. Like for example, a meal a day. Can this be? Can we do this kind of practice? Yes, of course. So a meal, one meal a day, but in between you can have like liquid. Like for example, harming a cell that is a kind of practice that is harming your body. So it does not. So the key is the practice should not harm your body and mind. So there's another question. So sentient beings have many delusional thoughts. So if I only practices 20 minutes a day, and during the rest of the time, my delusional thoughts still run. So what can I do? So this is one mentioned, you must always do visualization as an antidote. So in our daily life, it can't be helped that we have a lot of delusional thoughts. But in your cultivation, you are very, you have self-awareness to remind yourself. And realize I have a lot of delusional thoughts. So in the night, you can do sitting meditation, you should do cultivation practices are all like antidotes. So to have lots of delusional thoughts is quite normal to everyone. So always visualize Grandmaster atop your crown. And this is very good when you have a lot of delusional thoughts. Just think of Grandmaster atop your crown, recite the Padmakumara mantra. These are some solutions. So Master Lian has said the best is the middle path, a balance. Thank you, Master. There's one more question. For the True Buddha School Honor University, the homework activity regarding our cultivation practice, do we do the cultivation after each practice, or do we only do once after we've completed a required number? So remember, we send the list over to Grandmaster for his blessing regularly. I feel that if you recited mantras and cultivation practice, yes, you can do merits dedication. You don't have to wait until the end of the year. You always have to do a merits dedication after your cultivation practice. You should do it after every cultivation practice or after you recite mantras. There's no need to wait until the end of the year. Let's see if there are any other questions. That's the end of the class. If there are no other questions, let's invite Master Lian to say goodbye to everyone. Let's first put our palms together. With gratitude, living with Lian Shen, for compassionately radiating light on the class today. And the class is auspiciously delivered. With gratitude to Master Chen Chu, Education Director Master Lian He, Pure Director Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, all Masters in Reverence, Dharma instructors, Master of Ceremony, all interpreters, all counselors, all Dharma assistants, all fellow disciples. Thank you everyone for learning and growing together. We'll see everyone next week. Good night. With gratitude to Grandmaster and to our lecturer, Master Lian, Master Chen Chu, Master Lian He, Master Lian Jia, Master Lian Fei, and a back-end team, the counselors, interpreters for today from Singapore and Indonesia. And thank you everyone, all masters, senior reverends, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, and all public morals on Facebook, YouTube, Zoom for accompanying us during the class. See you next week, same time.
阿弥陀佛，拜拜。
拜拜，谢谢莲姨上师。
谢谢莲和上师，辛苦你了，真的阿弥陀佛，写的很好。
谢谢上师，谢谢上师，谢谢，下周见，
拜拜，
拜拜，
再见，
大家加油，
再见，
拜拜，
拜拜，再见。再见，可明师姐，再见。